So Tony Batha will be our timekeeper, assisted by Lynn Jones, our Voter Services Director. The format for tonight will be as follows. We'll begin with the candidates for County Clerk, then we'll hear a discussion of the proposed county charter amendments, followed by the council candidates. For both groups of candidates, we'll follow the ballot order. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an introductory statement, followed by time for questions and answers, after which they'll be given another minute for a closing statement. During the question and answer periods, we'll take questions from the floor, and the students will be circulating with mics. You'll have 30 seconds to pose a question. Just one question at a time, please. No double questions, and no statements. The questions must be addressed to all of the candidates in the group. Each candidate will have up to 1 minute to answer. The candidates will please speak to the audience, not to each other, and refrain from personal attacks. I don't think that's a problem this time, but some years are more difficult than others. I ask the audience to hold your applause for each group until the end of the closing statements. Please show your respect for this process and for the candidates by behaving courteously. So we'll begin with the candidates for County Clerk, Nathan Helm and Sharon Stover. And Nathan's statement is first, because he's first on the ballot. So to the
Good. My name is Nathan Yelm. I am a computer scientist working at the Los Alamos National Lab. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in computer science. And right now I'm also working on a PhD. A PhD. I'm running for county clerk because I see the county clerk's office as a place in Los Alamos County where someone with my background can have the most impact for a number of reasons. And one of the first reasons is kind of ensuring the security of elections and helping the county make the proper choices as time goes on about new voting machines, making sure the choices for machines, the machines are trustable, that we won't have any problems with any of the systems failing is another big thing, because you have a precinct that's busy, the system fails, that's a huge problem. And in general right now our systems are actually very good, and the policies and the way we use these machines actually work very well. And I do want to keep it going in that direction. Another thing that I'd like to be able to do is help modernize the information requests given to the county clerk's office, so they're not spending all their time handling Freedom of Information Act requests. And I feel like with my background, I can help move the office in that direction. That's about it.
Good evening, my name is Sharon Stover. I'd like to thank the League for hosting this first forum for everyone in the community. I'm running for County Clerk. In April of next year, I will have been a resident of White Rock for 30 years and have been involved in county government as well as community activities during that time. I grew up in the Pewaukee Valley, so I have a good understanding of why we are special. I am currently on the County Council. The County Clerk is responsible for all the filing and recording of ordinances and resolutions, as well as the custodian for the petitions initiated by our citizens. The clerk manages marriage licenses, you have to go register, registers voters, administers the elections, and also serves as clerk for the probate judge. In short, I'm looking forward to the opportunity of these past 4 years, what council documents have been passed, and I've assigned as chair to now follow through on those documents and handling them. If I'm fortunate enough to be elected, I will commit to attend trainings, and I would also like to continue to be our county's representative on a group called Mexico Association of Counties. Currently, I'm the treasurer of that group, and I would like to continue to serve. The incoming president has asked me to serve as treasurer again. The New Mexico Clerks affiliate, which represents all 33 counties in this legislative session, will have 7 resolutions. And I would continue to support those by the county as well as NMAC. My strength that I think I bring to the office is that I have an understanding of county government, and I've made a lot of connections throughout the state that I think present a good face for Los Alamos. I will look at the office with fresh eyes and talk to our stakeholders, our citizens, and find out how better we can serve, the clerk's office can serve you. And thank you for your consideration and your vote.
Thank you. The first question comes from the league. Ms. Stover will answer first. The Brennan Center for Justice recommends that private citizens not be allowed to challenge voters at the polls on election day. Election officials, of course, could challenge voters with cause. How do you feel about the fact that New Mexico allows private citizens to challenge voters inside the polls on election day?
That was an earful. I didn't get the first part of the question. I apologize.
Okay. The Brennan Center for Justice recommends that private citizens not be allowed to challenge voters at the polls on election day. In New Mexico, voters are allowed to challenge, and citizens are allowed to challenge voters.
Well, I think there's a regulation that within so many feet you cannot approach a voting center, voting, and I've seen where people can campaign outside of that area. I've never been, in my years of voting, have never been approached to be challenged by anyone. So I guess I would continue to support the same system that we currently use now.
So the private citizens, you mean like the election judges themselves, right? Really? Yeah. Well, that's something that this county probably doesn't have much control over, but I would say that the county should probably push on the state to change that so that private citizens can't challenge the voters. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, are there other questions? No questions for County Clerk?
Same-day voting, I think, is a great idea. The only issue there, of course, is determining that the person who's voting is legal to vote in that county. Traditionally in that precinct, but that's changed a little bit. And so I support the idea of doing it provisionally if they register the same day. But I don't know how it's working with the early voting and registering next Tuesday and the same time as voting. But as long as it can be determined that they are eligible to register to vote, their vote should be counted, even though it's the same day.
Thank you. So there's registration closes on October 9th. And so once that closes, absentee voting starts October 9th. And then mass voting, absentee, what they're calling absentee voting begins October 20th. But we have now these 3 convenient voting centers that just got approved. This is the first time we used them during the primary election, where I, as a citizen from living in White Rock, could come up to Los Alamos and vote. In fact, I did because it was timely. But in any case, so this same-day voting, I think we can vote. It's much more convenient than it was in the past. And I think the clerk's office has even seen an increase in people doing quite a bit of the early voting, which is like the absentee. So, yes, I would support.
Are there other questions?
Yes, I would just like to inquire whether you feel the clerk's job should be part-time or full-time?
I'll go first, yeah. That's a, need to learn what the office is about. That's why go in it with fresh eyes and see. Whoever gets elected is pretty much just a placeholder, to be honest, these next 4 years. That was an issue that the CRC is dealing with and will come up again that they will address. There's different thoughts. I've talked to different clerks who think it should be a part-time, some think it should be a full-time. So that will go through the charter process. So until that happens, we'll wait and see.
I'd have to say the exact same thing. I mean, it's something that I'd have to really see how the office works and kind of see how maybe it can be changed and improved, whether that requires a full-time clerk or whether the current part-time position is adequate. So, if I get elected and get to serve the county as county clerk, I will be prepared to make that assessment and recommend to the county council what should be done going forward.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Okay.
Some states have nonpartisan county clerks, and some do not. New Mexico versus, I guess it's in our Constitution, that the county clerk's position should be partisan. I just wondered how you felt about that. I mean, I think it would take a constitutional amendment to change it, but it is something that's inspired some controversy, so I'd love to know how you felt about it.
I'm not completely comfortable with the idea, just like I'm not completely comfortable with the idea of the Secretary of State, who's kind of the head of all the election in the state, is a partisan position. And it's hard to say whether, I mean, in some instances it probably could be a problem, but I don't see in New Mexico there being too big of a problem. But I don't know beyond that. So.
So Becky, I guess I wasn't really aware in statewide of the controversy. It was more national.
I think it's actually our charter. John could probably tell us. Rather than the state constitution. That makes
No, it's not in the charter.
It's not our county charter. Sorry, so I should pass along erroneous information.
In any case, I wasn't aware that it was a concern. I hadn't heard of anything. And so it seems like the system has been working fine to date. Sorry about
Okay, we have time now for 1-minute closing statements. Begin with you, Sharon.
I'd just like to thank the citizens of Los Alamos. I think we have a very educated electorate that comes out to vote. We have a high 84%, which tells us our citizens are engaged. And I think the county clerk's office, the integrity of that office remains high, and I would hope to continue that. And so I would just ask for your support. Thank you.
I'd first like to start off by thanking the Los Alamos League of Women Voters for having us out here today and letting us talk to you. And I'd like to ask for your support to help me, help me serve the county as the county clerk and do what I can to make this office something that serves the citizens better. And I really would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you both very much.